Whoa, I guess we're live, Richard. How's it
Oh,
going there? Like, I
yeah.
didn't get to go to VIR with you guys. I had to go to Buttonwillow instead.
Yeah, it was pretty damn quiet, that's for sure. We didn't have to be like looking over our shoulder asking me, what does that do? What does that do? What does
Oh,
that do?
yeah,
What does that do? What's that thing for?
yeah. Stop touching that. Why do you have that in your hand? What do
Yeah,
you what do you look at? You're not supposed to look at that.
yeah. So we missed all of that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was at Buttonwillow one-on-one with somebody and doing a lot of two-up rides and that kind of stuff. So, flinging tires,
How's
you
that
know.
track holding up?
Oh, the old track?
Yeah.
It's the same.
Full of cracks and no
It's
grip.
a lot of things to wheelie off of.
Yeah. Kind of like VIR. A lot of cracks and no grip.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, but somehow your bikes seem to work in that stuff. It's like Brainerd, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got some
I
questions,
asked Bobby
right?
that on the phone today. I talked to him a little bit, in prep for tonight's show, and I was like, "So you just dig on tracks that are like bumpy and jacked up, right?"
You know
And
what's funny is because before we went there, he goes, "Man, I don't want to go to VIR. That place is at no passing areas, and it's just such a like it's not a fun track." And he said all those negatives, right?
who Bobby did?
Bobby, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, it's not a fun track.
Before we're gonna go test there, and the test was kind of a blowout because it rained. The
Yeah.
amount of dry time we had was like 2 minutes worth of 2 day out of 2 days,
Mm-hmm.
and it
Yeah.
rained the second day, and so anyway we got some good wet testing, which may pay off in New Jersey. Who knows? But so anyway, he wasn't really amped for that. And I remember him doing a little show with you some time ago, and he said that Laguna Seca was one of his worst tracks. He didn't like it.
Yeah.
He liked
Yeah.
Brainerd.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny that he's had his best ever results at those two tracks.
Yeah. I mean, he's I'm probably getting a little bit ahead of myself, but he's pretty fired up, man. He's
He's
there's
always
a lot there's a lot of stuff I could talk about, and I'll talk about it maybe later in the show. But he's a character. Like he's
yeah. We had to put I don't know. I probably mentioned this already. We had to put a time limit on the debriefs.
yeah,
He gets 15 minutes, and it's a decaying scale by the time you get to race day.
Oh,
So yeah, so you can start off 15 minutes. So you better pick your corners wisely because we don't want to hear about the same corner 10 different ways.
okay.
Get to the facts and get to it, and then by Sunday, the bike should be getting better, right? So I think you're 15
Yeah.
minutes, you get down about 5 minutes or so.
Oh my God,
We don't want to hear about every corner.
that's
If you haven't figured it out
hilarious.
by then, you just got to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, I was on last night on the weekend hangover, and I saw Ed commented, and he said something like, Bobby dominates and wins everything, and probably still has an hour's worth of things that he thinks are messed up or things that he doesn't like.
No, he actually said the bike was good
Yeah,
after race one, and then he came back with it after a few minutes and said, "Well, we could actually try to fix this area and this area and this area." So we tried something different we tried to improve again and warm up. So we were a little bit short on gearing, I think, in race one, and we were just sitting on a limiter in a couple spots for a long time.
yeah,
But you ask these guys, "Hey, can you shift there?" Sure. When they say it on paper, and they go out, "I don't want to shift there." So they just ride the limiter for like, I think coming out of
ever.
well, we were slower in the first split, so that's turn one, turn two, turn three, turn four kind of thing, right? And so he was on a limiter for a long time going into turn three. He just didn't want to upshift and backshift twice there, which I understand. It's a pretty busy corner,
Yeah,
so we had to gear the bike a little bit differently. And the main reason is that track, just like Atlanta and a little bit Mid Ohio coming up too, it has that kink in it.
yeah,
You can't gear for the corners as much as you have to gear for that stupid kink.
really.
Yeah. So if you're on the limiter, and the kink's like throwing out the anchor.
Hmm.
So if you notice, our bike was pretty good on top speed at this track.
Yeah.
That's because I don't know how the other guys geared. Maybe they geared for the corners. They didn't really care about the kink. So it made it, so we geared for we geared to make sure we were not on the limit or anywhere, because our bike can't give up any power. You know what I'm saying? We have to use every bit of power we have. And so we'll look at things like, okay, wheelie control, try to minimize that, traction control, try to minimize that in the proper spots, and just try to take the maximum amount of power we possibly can while not blowing the tire off the rim.
Right.
So I think Marshall's come up with a pretty decent combo for the TC over the last few years. It's basically a derivation of what we've done since Heron rode the bike back in 18.
Well, I mean, I saw on the broadcast, Pridmore was talking about how it looks like Bob was going, and Jake too, were going back down to first gear in some places where the other guys were rolling through in second. But it looked like, there was like that accordion effect. So it was really difficult to tell what was what. But it looked like on some sections, Bobby could just basically pull out multiple bike links in some areas, like going down the hill and stuff. They'd pan the camera and Bob's just like pulling away.
Well, we had a grip.
Yeah, okay.
We had grip, which, I mean, we didn't get any complaints on grip from either guys. I mean, maybe a little bit from Jake. But Jake's, I mean, if you want to get in the techno mumbo jumbo, which I guess a lot of people want to hear, Jake's center of gravity is a little higher than Bobby's.
Okay.
And so the anti-squat and all that stuff's a little bit different on Jake's.
Okay.
And so we have to compensate for that. But, it's so dynamic, though. It isn't like the guy just sitting there fixed. Like when Jeff measures the bike with a rider, and some of the teams have done this too, just to kind of figure out where their center of gravity is. So they don't have this weird anti-squat number. But it's still kind of a roundabout guess. Because the guy, when he's in a tuck position, when he's braking, when he's hanging off the bike, he can move his head down right and left. Put his head down, change the anti-squat. Stick his head up, change the anti-squat. You know what I mean? So there's all this stuff's kind of dynamic. So you kind of go, okay, well, let's just go off of some number that we know, which is what Jeff gives us. It's like, an average of some of these positions, riding positions. And it's about all the best you can do, because the rider's so dynamic. And then some riders are not very dynamic. Like Bobby's not super dynamic on the bike. Jeff's a little bit more dynamic on the bike. So maybe Bobby's a little easier, maybe and sometimes more difficult to tune for, because he is more fixed. But we've been working on that, and you could see he was, with his body style, with his body movements, he was getting a little more dynamic. Like when he kicked his leg out in one corner when he was passing Heron, in the last corner there before he took off and split. So I was kind of shocked how slow everybody was. I mean, it blew me away, honestly. They can go out and turn a fast lap, but they couldn't do a string of them. Like when the tire was new, they could do a fast lap, but as soon as they got off they lost a little, that tire dropped. All those guys were only good for a couple of fast laps. I mean, Bobier would probably had the biggest amount of sticking with it in race one, but you could tell you could tell that our guy, Bobby, had a little bit left in the tank, and Bobier was riding on edge the whole time. Like, one of the areas is like the last, you said, coming down the hill, that requires a lot of grip. And it's a left side grip too, so the tire should be pretty new on that side compared to the right side, because the right side turned track. But I could see he was losing time in that section, and he was losing time in a lot of areas, and especially the drive onto the straightaway.
Right.
It's pretty slippery. It's a pretty long right turn, and then it G's out, comes up the hill, and we just kind of nailed it on our setup, but we did have a little bit of a secret weapon, though. I don't know if I should share.
Oh, the secret weapon?
Yeah. We've been working with Yamaha Lube on a secret something, but it's right here. It's called it's a spray. It's called Pole Position Instant Grip. Okay, and it's got added race. It's got add race formula. You see that?
Yeah. Are we going to start selling that on attackyamaha.com?
I don't know. It's kind of a development product, but it worked.
Okay.
At Laguna. I didn't really want to talk about it until.
Yeah.
It's pole position instant grip.
So if you spray that on there, that's pole position guaranteed.
You spray it on the rider.
Oh, you sprayed on the rider.
Yeah,
Do
on the
you do
space.
one of these,
Yeah, a
or
little
is
bit
it,
under the
you
just
know?
spray it on his helmet a little bit,
Okay.
polish it up. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's and all of a sudden the rider, I don't know if it's a hallucinogenic or what, but the rider all of a sudden thinks he's got tons of grip.
Oh,
He rides the crap out of your motorcycle.
it's like it's like hypnosis.
It's illegal to spray it on the tire, so you got to spray it on the
Oh,
rider.
you sprayed on the rider and you're good.
Yeah.
You put it on the tire, it's illegal.
I remember Petrucci accused Dunlop once of putting some sticky stuff on our tires because he said no one, not even MotoGP, put a second and a half or 2 seconds on them on the opening lap like Jake did from the start.
Right.
You know,
Right.
but that's the thing our bike is kind of good at is which the other guys I think have had some pretty strong opening laps. I mean, you know, Heron was there on the opening lap, and Bobby was there on the opening lap, and Heron's pretty strong on in the opening lap, getting in the way of everyone and trying to block everybody's momentum, but it wasn't going to last. You see,
yeah,
like you had to ride that bike really hard, and you know, you end up paying the price in race 2.
yeah.
But I mean, 26 seconds back for that next group. I mean, race 1, Bobier got beat by 7. He just eventually couldn't ride the thing with no grip when you had to let off, and you know, our guy cruised at the end. Otherwise, it'd be more. And race 2 and the next group back was 26 seconds. That's just crazy in the dry. I could see that in the wet. Like we've done that in the wet. But 26 seconds that next group was, you know, the Ducati.
I'm watching the broadcast, and it was like pretty late in the race, and Bob had, I think it was like lap 16 or 17 or something. And Bob had just done
7 to go.
He had a 24 or something that lap, and the other guys were doing 26s and 27s.
Yeah, it depends on which race. I mean, Bobier started doing like mid to high 25s and then dropped down to the 26s. I figured he probably just consolidated his second place.
Right.
He saw, I mean, I'm sure his lap time, you know, the pit board said plus 25 or 24.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Bobier in race 1 was in the 25s on lap 13, and Bob didn't see 25s really until lap 17.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, most of the guys were not in. I mean, besides Bobier, most of the guys up front were not in the 24s at all.
Yeah, as soon as he dropped Cameron, it was like a half second a lap, and then eventually it was like a second a lap.
Right.
You know, we give him the distance back.
Yeah.
And it was just crazy. And the next, I look back, the next group back, it's like 20 seconds back. Like, what the hell's going on there?
Yeah.
Did they miss the setup by that much, or they just? I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously Jake's been there. Jake was struggling with his hand again. You know, it's a really busy track, and he had no place to really rest his hand. You know, you come out of that last corner, all you have is that short run to the kink, and you're braking again. You know, so just didn't have any strength in his hand for whatever reason. It was worse this time than it was at, you know, Laguna and VIR. And VIR, I mean not VIR, but Ridge. Ridge, he had a pretty good run. I mean, he was on pole, right?
Yeah.
And he finished third in both races, but you know, he was close to those guys. But there was more of a tire issue. We chose the wrong front, you know. And so anyway, here I think we're in pretty good shape as far as tires go. Tires worked out.
So I asked Bobby this, you know, I mean, you know, I mentioned it a minute ago, you know, Bobby did pretty late in the race. He was still in the 24s, and the rest of the guys were 25s or slower, right? Yeah. And I asked him, I was like, dude, you know, what is it that, did you find something? Like, what is it that allowed you to continue on? And he basically, it's like Bobby, right? Yeah, it's the spray, right? Yeah, he puts it in his mouth too. It's
Yamaha, it's the latest stuff.
Yeah. No, but he said
on the Yamaha website though.
He said something interesting to me, because I've heard this kind of verbiage before, but he talks about that's the way he trains. You know, when he trains, it's like full boogie until he's done. He doesn't go out and smash and then cruise around and then smash again. He just is like smash fest the whole time and then stops. And he says that he saw on his board that there was like pretty healthy gap. So he said he started to try to cruise, and you can kind of see that in race 1. He had one lap in race 1, like, I don't know, lap 7 or 8, something like that. And he slowed down to 25.0. Like that was his like taking a breather kind of thing, right?
Mhm.
And he said that he was afraid that he would lose focus by slowing down. So he just like kept hammering.
Well, like when Heron fell down, he turned around, looked at him, and he just about ran off the inside of the track. That's what losing focus does to you. At that
Yeah.
pace, you focus just a little bit, and you could be off the racetrack.
Yeah.
And then your gap is done. If you fall down, obviously you got to pick it up, and maybe all your stuff is still there, your
Yeah.
bonds and pegs and this and that. So it's best just to keep a nice pace. So I
Yeah.
mean, straight away on Friday, he went out and did a run, and did his, and I think it was like 22 laps. Race distance on the same, like I think he had one stop, went back out and did his fastest lap. I'd have to look at the lap sheets, but it did his fastest lap, like a couple laps in the end on Friday. Came out P1.
Yeah.
So then we repeated it in Q1 and Q2 and so on. So it's kind of the writing was on the wall that if you can be P1 every session and your runs are pretty consistent,
Right.
that your race pace is going to be really good. So even though we didn't have sometimes the fastest lap in the race or whatever, his pace was just, nonstop the same.
Yeah.
You can see that with when Top Rack rode the Yamaha, he would go out and do these long runs, and his pace would be really good, like his race pace. And sometimes you hear the riders say that in MotoGP, like we think our race pace is really good. It may not be the outright fastest one, like Bobier can bang out that one lap on that BMW that's super fast, like he did in the race. I think he had the fastest lap of the race in race 1 by a couple of tenths, but he can't maintain it.
Right.
Because the bike's a little bit unpredictable. It's low grip sometimes. And when we go to tracks that have high grip, then they can kind of maintain that pace longer.
Right.
So that's why we've struggled at some of the tracks with high grip with power, because those guys can take advantage of that power. Where the Yamaha is just like the best overall bike. You can get around corners, you can brake good, and accelerate on the edge of the tire and not burn up the rear tire and things like that, and maintain that pace. So, but there's a lot of tricks to go into it, with trying to find grip, which is something that we always work on really hard, and that's when we get on the hard tires, it's a little bit more of a struggle for us.
Yeah, he basically told me he was like, they've just done a great job with the bike, dude. He's like, it's so easy to. He doesn't want to make he's very concerned with making it sound like he's not, cocky or whatever.
Yeah, no, I mean,
like the way he talks about it is he's super funny guy, right? So it's like,
yeah,
you got to take some of it and filter through.
Yeah, all riders have a little bit of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, insecurity. So they race, they get a good result, but at the back of their heads, they're still a little bit insecure. Right. Maybe not Heron, because he seems like he's very secure all the time. He didn't do, that's the thing that shocked me, was he didn't do a bunch of laps. He'd go out and burn a lap and he'd come and sit. I was like, why are you sitting? I thought, was he having problems with his bike or whatever? Or maybe they just do a lap or two and go, yeah, bike's good. I'm good. I know this track, all that kind of stuff. But at the end, in race 1, 26 seconds. I was, wow. Pretty far back. Race 2, I don't know what would have happened if he stayed up in 2 wheels. I venture to say he would have had a grip drop and wouldn't have been able to maintain that pace. But he had a pretty good first couple laps.
Yeah. Oh, he was right there.
Yeah.
He was right there. I mean, it just, is it you tested there. I mean, we were there right before MotoAmerica, right?
Yeah, that test was useless.
So, I mean, other than like spinning laps on the course direction, it wasn't, it wasn't like you guys were getting a bunch of dry laps, right?
The only thing we were able to do is have another look at the gearing and go, okay, yep. Because since 22, we have a different gearbox, right? Because MotoAmerica came out of the gearbox rule. Right. So when we decided on the gearbox, we kind of said, VIR is going to be our worst racetrack. Well, lucky we're not going there anymore. So we chose a gearbox that didn't fit VIR. And ironically, that made us work harder to get the gearing right. So the first session, the main thing was gearing. And we kept going, okay, that's wrong. And the second session, we're like, okay, we made an improvement. So we have we have a gear chart that we can put all the speeds and RPMs and all that stuff in there. And you're able to choose, well, can you use second gear in this corner versus third or whatever, right? And then you can do your overall gearing, because we can't choose every gear like you could on the old days. So you have to kind of take the best overall gear, final drive to fit all the different corners and all the different straightaways. So it may not be that it's perfect, in sixth gear, just tapping the limiter before you hit the brakes. It's going to be, okay, second gear is kind of on the limit in this section for about a half a second, but that's better than being on the limiter every which place otherwise. And the rider can't shift here because it's impossible. So you have to make a bunch of compromises. And so we have a chart that we run down for every corner exit. And Marshall and I worked through that. And that's what we did a lot of.
Oh, wow.
Race. Yeah, but we thought for sure this is going to be one of our worst tracks. And I thought Beaubier was going to do really well there.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, over most of the season, everybody has been kind of getting their butts kicked by the number one bike. And, aside from Laguna, there was a little hiccup there. And then
we were pretty damn close at MotoAmerica.
Yeah.
Places. So the tracks that we
100%.
we weren't going to be doing so good. I mean, Ridge, if Jake, I think, was feeling better, he'd been okay there.
Right.
Still struggling with his arm a little bit as far as strength goes. So his longevity at the end isn't that great. So it's not like a tire fades. It's like his arm fades,
Is he just having a strength thing? He's not having any pain, right? I mean,
he said he's not having any numbness like it was before. But just doesn't have strength. Apparently, when they put that cortisone in there, they were doing the Supercross guys, it just turns off the muscle, he said.
Oh man.
He's got no strength in the arm, So I don't know. I said, go talk to a different doctor and see what you got to do to get some strength back in that arm.
Right.
Because obviously he's a super talented rider, and he did 23.5 in 22 on that track.
Right.
Did 24.1 in the race, and so what did we do? 24.3, I think, in the race or something.
He didn't wake up one morning and decide he couldn't ride a motorcycle anymore or forget how to go fast, right?
No, he
hasn't forgotten.
Yeah, it's been the arm thing now since the end of 23.
Yeah.
All 24, part of 25 now. Yeah, I mean, we had to take a breather in 24. So that's kind of been his struggle. So anyway, I think Ridge, we could have done better. That was maybe some bad choices on our part. And then we got a bad front tire,
right,
for Bobby in race 2, and he couldn't do anything with it. And then we won in the wet, finished second in Atlanta, I think. Won in the wet at Barber. So there was a number of things that I think, you say, oh, we're getting our butts kicked, but I don't know where.
No, I'm saying like the points. There was a points gap, and that dude did win a string of races.
Yeah, he won a string. He won. I mean, that's the thing. This sport pays for wins.
Right.
So if you win, you just like Bobby won 4 in a row.
Right.
Aaron won 5 in a row, and he had a pretty good consolidated all points.
Right.
And he hadn't made. It's like, even though he's back at some races, he seems to find his way to the podium, so he collects points.
Right.
Like this race 1, he got third, but 26 seconds back.
Yeah.
If the other guys were more competitive, he wouldn't have been third.
Right.
That's the thing that blew me away. Like the Suzukis were a bit faster, and Jake's arm wasn't messed up. He would have been third, not 26 seconds back.
Right.
So race 2, if Beaubier had, I heard his electronics turned off as he pulled up the line.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so he didn't have any rider aids, so he just cruised around. He could have consolidated third, but he didn't end up getting third. So that's the way racing goes. I mean, Bobby fell down at Atlanta, and then had a bad race at Ridge, and I think his helmet fogged up at Barber. So all those kind of were negatives, right? Yeah. But for the most part, he had I don't have the stats in front of me, but he had a bunch of podiums. And now he's got a string of wins. So we're going to have to see what happens at Mid-Ohio. I know Heron goes good there. Beaubier goes good there. Beaubier put down a pretty good, stupid fast lap last year in qualifying. Right. And that was Q1. I think Q2 was a little bit wet, like drying wet type thing. So nobody went faster. Only a couple guys went faster, but SDK goes pretty good there. So those guys are kind of feeling a little bit better about their bikes. So they got a couple of them, got a podium.
Yeah, I don't. We talk about that window that you're working on for the rider to get them in that window they need. Would you confidently say that you've kind of found that window that Bob's looking for, or is it like a moving target with that guy?
Um, I don't know what you call a window. I know that there's a spot that we designed the bike to be at,
Hmm.
and the bike's made its way there.
Okay.
So whether the rider found that window where the bike likes to be and finally got his head around how to ride that motorcycle might be more the case with this particular motorcycle,
Okay.
because the bike kept getting yanked in a certain direction and the direction was slow.
Okay.
Because I wanted to feel like this, I wanted to feel like that, and every time you went that way, you could do a fast lap once, maybe it was like the other bikes where you couldn't do a string of fast laps, and it was unforgiving on the tires and blah blah blah. And, wanted to fold the front and all those things that you get negatives on. So now we're back to, I guess, the design base of the motorcycle.
Okay.
Yeah. So without getting into details, that's kind of where we're at right now.
Okay.
And so I think we did not a full circle, but something like a full circle back to where we're supposed to be.
All right.
Kind of where we finished at Podium Club.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Right. I mean,
with a little variation. So
okay.
so I don't know if you call it, like, I'm just answering your question about a window. Bob's
Well,
window.
you always talk about like sometimes a rider needs a certain. If you can get them in that little window they're looking for, if you could do anything.
So what you do is you give the rider some stuff to make him feel like he's getting some stuff. Okay, yeah, we're doing this, we're doing that. We don't even really tell him what we're doing anyway. Just kind of, I need to do this and do that, and then you start walking them towards where they really need to be.
Okay.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, you got your blinders on, you're walking this way. It's kind of like holding a hand and walking them somewhere. It's like, okay, now we're going through the door. Okay, now you can run. You're outside.
Free rage.
Yeah. So, people say, like, I think Hayes came up after the race and said, "Hey, man, good job, blah blah blah," and talked a little bit about setup. And I said, I don't really share the setup info with the riders. It's too much stuff in their head. They just need to concentrate on riding the bike hard. And that's where Bobby's kind of been just riding the motorcycle.
Yeah.
He just tells us this little 15-minute debrief. This, and this. Okay, all right, go away. We'll fix the motorcycle. Come back in an hour. We'll go ride it.
Dude, he was literally like, he said he had a moment in his head where, it was like 8 laps to go or something, and he was wanting to cruise, and then he started thinking about what he was going to have for dinner.
Yeah.
It's like, what, dude?
Yeah, that reminds me of Pridmore in Colorado. When he came back from his injury, his first race back was at Pikes Peak, that race, that little bitty racetrack. And he won that race by so far that he was thinking about his lunch, dinner, and where he was going to go, and all these things, all the while riding the motorcycle. So they get in the zone and they can think about everything but riding the motorcycle.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's it's fast. Like, curious. How fast are those things? Like I wanted to say it was like around 180, right? Like
yeah, I don't know. I think probably right where the speed trap is was about the fastest, but it all depended on what kind of drive you got off that last corner. But
yeah,
179 point something in race 2.
Wow.
I think when he was chasing Heron through the kink there, and it didn't look like we were giving up anything. It's not because we're creating all this horsepower, but it's because the chassis is so good. That you can get off that last corner really, really well and not wheelie over that hill and all those things that we've kind of developed the bike to do so we can keep up with the Joneses,
Yeah, yeah.
So kind of like it's reminiscent of the R6 last year racing against those Ducati twins.
Okay, yeah.
So you have the 600 that you have to ride it hard on the corners and use all that it's got. and do a fast lap time, right?
Right.
Using the front tire, using the rear tire, using all the acceleration, and trying not to mess anything up with gearing and all those things. So that's kind of where we're at with regards to racing that Ducati and the BMW. Where their issue is trying to find grip, especially with these tracks that are kind of low grip. Like Laguna was a really low grip track this year,
Right?
And that was an advantage to us.
Yeah, that's kind of the character of that bike, and since you've had it, basically, right?
Yeah, I would venture to say if we had another day of VIR, we'd make our bike we were still missing a few things. We'd make our bike that much better. And
Yeah,
go more faster with the grip we had.
you know, I have some more notes and things, but I do have a comment from Joel RN. That dude is a frequent commenter on the show, and he says at the beginning of the season up to now, it didn't seem that the Yamaha was going to be able to beat the Ducati or the BMW. What do you think has contributed to that outstanding performance? Oh, the pole position instant grip. Oh,
Yeah,
Ray.
spray. Spray the rider does. Like I said, I think I said it a little bit earlier. I don't think we're that bad at Road America, which is a big track. You know, we finished second there, beat Bobier. He ran off, I think, and ran wide in one of them, trying to keep up. And then I think he crashed in the second race. You know, not super happy with the stability of his bike and the predictability. You know, so I think that tortoise and the hare thing, right? So you just keep plugging away.
Well, at Road America, I mean, I told Bob when we were talking this afternoon, I was like, dude, you know, because he brought up Road America too. He was saying how the bikes were quite a bit faster at Road America than they had been previously. And, you know, and I said that too. I mean, looking at it, I've been watching your bikes from the wall for years, you know, like you can see when the thing starts looking healthy, you know?
Yeah.
And,
you know, race one, Barber, we won the first one, and then Bobby raced Bobier all the way to the end, right? Only finished behind him.
Yeah.
He got blocked by a back marker, right? So so at Barber, bikes were not. I mean, they were competitive.
Right.
Where did we go to Atlanta? And I think Bobby finished second or third in Atlanta. I can't remember. He was one of the faster guys on the racetrack.
Yeah.
And so I can't say.
But at Road America, you could really see it because you're standing at the end of the wall and they're going by, and it's like a wake.
Yeah, that was the first race with the next generation of engines that we had.
Yeah.
And so this last race, we had another generation of engines. So they're just small little tweaks on the engines, but they just every little bit helps. And then, you know, we made a step with electronics as well.
Okay.
You know, so we went one direction with electronics, trying to maximize acceleration, and it might have hurt us a little bit with tire wear. So so we made another step with trying to improve tire wear. And I think that's what made it so much easier for the riders to ride the bike and go the distance with consistent lap times. One of the things we also made a pretty decent change with suspension too in the rear. Yeah.
Well, you guys are continuing, like we've been talking about it all season. You're continuously developing the bike, and you're in the shop. You and Walker wrenching on the things and doing whatever it is that you guys do, whereas maybe some of the other programs are just writing a check to whoever and then they pick up the bike and race it how it is, and that's what they've got all year. So while those guys all may have a certain pace in the beginning, their capabilities don't really exit that window that they started in, whereas your bikes, you're constantly kind of tweaking them, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're constantly morphing, right? So, for instance, I don't know, the Suzuki's may have a little bit of that going on. So you got Nick over there, stuff. I mean, we changed the flex percentage on the side of the tire in the swing arm about that started, I think, at the last test, and that was a plus. So right about then we knew we were going to have some improved grip. But again, like Barber, a little more harder tire. Same with Road America. Atlanta wasn't a bad run for us. So it's just been inching up on it. At the same time, it's Bobby's new to the bike, and so he's learning how much he can push. And how much he can build his confidence around it. So it takes sometimes a few races, like actual races, not just testing.
Okay.
Super comfortable. I mean, you saw at VIR, I mean, he was just throwing things sideways, spinning it up, using up that rear tire. But honestly, that rear tire hung in there all the way to the end.
Yeah.
Like the maximum amount of wear you can put on one side.
The
tire, it was laying down a pretty good contact patch, and it was accelerating going forward.
Yeah, I mean, his last 24 on race 2 was lap 11, but he was pretty low 25s and until lap 17, whereas race 1, I mean, he was able to run 24s all the way until like his first lap out of the 24s, basically, except for those 2, was way late in the race.
It was a little slicker on day 2.
Okay.
The sun was out, so it was a little bit slicker, but he didn't have any reason to push. We won by 14.4 or something like that, 14.4.
Yeah.
So by the time when he got up to about 8 to 10 seconds, he's like, "Oh, why bother?"
Yeah.
I take chances. He was basically rolling around like he's warming up his tires. And I told him, I said, "Dude, if you roll around too slow, your tires will cool off and you lose pressure." And that's when mistakes happen. Like the front gets too soft and you can tuck the front going slow, believe it or not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just curious, of a couple of data points there. I mean, I saw over the weekend, I mean, it looked like Bob pretty much had the rest of the field covered just about everywhere. But turn 1 specifically was different because there was a lot of riders going in there, and they looked like they were going in there with the same pace as Bobby was, but a lot of times they were running wide, and then Bob would gap them, open up a gap on them there. And then also, and it was not just the Superbike class, it was Stock 1000, Super Sport. Like a lot of guys were cooking in the one there. Like what's going on in turn 1? Like what kind of brake pressure are we talking about? What kind of lean angle are we talking about? Like, is it?
It's moderate brake pressure because it's coming off. It's kind of a turn where you're coming in an angle a little bit. So it is one that could catch you out if you're not careful how much brake pressure you apply.
Okay.
Our brake pressure numbers aren't super high because we have those booster calipers.
Right.
So you don't have to pull the lever as hard to get the same amount of grip.
Yeah.
But I mean,
high on those things like 13, 14, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we went over 10.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, anywhere on the racetrack. I think I can show you some of the brake pressures if you want. We have some data up. I think I can show you.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Yeah,
I think the audience loves when we pull up squiggly line stuff.
All 3 people that are watching.
Yeah. Like all 7 now. Come on.
Yeah.
Like you gotta give us some credit. We're up to 7 now.
All right, let me have a look here. I put on my geeky glasses.
He's got the glasses on, people.
Yeah.
Now we're in trouble.
Slides, media, image, share screen. There you go. Oh yeah, whatever. Warning.
As soon as I see it come up, I will present. Okay. Adding that to the stage, getting rid of our ugly mugs. Cool.
Yeah, so let's zoom up on turn 1.
Yeah, and first off, I see the track map there, and man, I saw that on TV too. And after driving the rental car around the racetrack, that track map there does not do justice of what's actually happening on the track.
Well, that track map's generated by the bike.
Yeah, I know.
So there it is right there. So this lap is that track map.
Yes.
You kind of see some of our gearing choices, which is not standard. Like we were getting into turn 1 and first, coming out in second, first through all this, second, third. I mean, you have to have our gearbox and our engine to be able to pull this off. Second through all, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. You see what I'm saying? No other bike's probably shifting like this. Okay. So you can kind of see only 7 bar.
7 bar into 1. Wow.
Yeah. And you drag it in there all the way there. So that was one.
And he's
corner
still
where-
doing that kind of like Bobby style braking too.
Yeah,
looks like.
it's pretty linear here, but you can see it releases.
Yeah.
It releases and puts. I mean, it's probably picking up the rear tire a little bit. He was braking pretty hard for what the
Okay.
bike can do. But I mean, the thing with those Z04 pads, they're pretty consistent. So you can
Yeah.
brake pretty consistent. There's probably some bumps and things like there. Like I said, there's a little bit of lean angle going in there too, and then he's
Yeah.
straight up. So here's your A-lean. So you're kind of straight right there. Even though you're straight there, you can see the bike's kind of doing a little bit of a weave.
Yeah.
You're coming off of 85 kilometers an hour about. So then you get to 55 degrees. So let me see here. Yeah, 55 degrees there. And then
Oh, man.
61 in that turn 3 area.
Wow.
So it could be that the IMU is not quite zeroed right to left. So it may not be accurately 60, but it's close enough for our traction control system, you know.
Yeah.
It's not so picky. So if it's like 55 or 60 is basically the same number for us.
Hmm.
So then, there's a lot of like letting off the throttle in a couple spots to make sure you can get that turn happening. So you can settle the front and as you're changing direction, right? So you have 0 on the lean.
Yeah, that looks like he's entering Goose Town, right?
Yeah, that's turn 2.
2, 3, right?
Yeah. And then he brakes there. So honestly, some of the hardest braking is up at going into turn. What the hell is that? 5, 6, 7, 8. I think. No, 7.
Yeah.
That's 7. So
that's the turn that goes under the bridge, right?
Yeah. So even there, he's kind of works into it, and then he releases, and he doesn't have a lot of lag time. So
no, I don't see much whiskey.
255K there. It's not a really like long turn racetrack for angle. And then you got, and then the trick is to get on the gas in this guy. So you can see where he's got a pretty good lump of throttle application. And he keeps
big lump, and then he's flatline at peak.
Well, that's spin. And he's like, I want more. And then he's like, oh, too much spin. And he backs off a little bit and then drives back on.
Okay.
So you kind
crazy.
of see, the braking and the change direction, a little bit of blip of throttle down here because you're going downhill. It's a little bit off camber. It's an interesting corner.
I guess it's bike night at my place on the street.
Bar down the street, they have the damn Harley bike night every Wednesday, whenever we're on. It's right about now. It's always good weather in Huntington Beach, so these idiots are out constantly up there doing their thing.
Oh my god! Wow, that's cool, man. That's cool.
Races, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. The lean angle stuff. What?
Can I go now?
Okay, so we talked a little bit about Jake, and
I tried to spray on the mechanics, but I thought if I spray this stuff on the mechanics, they might have a heart attack because they're not as fit as the riders.
Yeah, I mean, usually they're pretty good with contact cleaner right here.
Yeah,
but only in the eyes.
Yeah,
right.
Straight as the contact cleaner punishment. We don't pay; we just torture.
Okay. It's not a mean-spirited contact cleaner in the eyes. It's just correction.
We always joke. We'll have our Thursday team meeting, and sometimes a one-way conversation about how things should go, and then afterwards I'll say, "This is the best team I've ever had."
Yes,
it's kind of become the joke.
Yeah,
you all suck, but this is the best team.
You guys are a bunch of fuck-ups, but hey, best team I've ever had.
Yeah.
Wow.
I bought a lot of dinners this last go around, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I was wondering, I've got that. Somebody said that in the comments. They're asking about what the dinner bill was Sunday night.
Not bad.
No?
Walker was gone. He went to drop the truck off in mid-Ohio. And then so we just had a few guys. And then Ed drove off. And we went to this place called Tony Roma's. Remember that place?
Okay. Barbecue place.
Yeah, they used to be in California. They all left.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was one at the bottom of the hotel. Like, oh, Tony Roma's.
I didn't even know Tony Roma's was still around, dude.
I know. I was shocked. I'm like, it's pretty damn good, though. And it wasn't too much food. You know how you eat. Like, what is that place? That steakhouse. You just they give you bread and steak and
chili.
Chili and all those things. I'm getting hungry. Can I go now?
This guy. Okay. So we talked a little bit about Jake, and
I mean, you could see it on the TV, and you kind of explained it. It's about his wrist. You know, the question is like, what's up with Jake? And you know, he starts off.
Yeah, he was super frustrated because
Yeah, I bet.
he was watching Bobby just check out, and he
Yeah.
knew he could go that pace, but his hands just not allowing it. Can't
Yeah.
brake, can't do anything. I mean, first I thought for sure he was going to just get with those guys and check out, and it just didn't happen. And he was super frustrated. It's unfortunate because there's not much you can do about it. Not much. It's not like we can plug a download cable on his arm and fix it, or click on a clicker in his head and also
maybe work on that.
Yeah. Not quite there.
No.
Yeah.
All right. Leave your duties to the bike only, and hope the riders, or expect the riders to be ready. You know.
Yeah, be
it
healthy.
looked like Jake was been chipping away, and you know he's had some success.
Yeah.
And it's just like he's, I don't know. Like I mean, I keep saying it every weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if Jake pulls one out. You know, if he's healthy, he certainly hasn't forgotten how to ride.
No, he's fully capable.
Yeah.
And he's been pretty happy with the bike. Like I said, we've kind of gone like, this is what I'm used to. This is what I'm used to, and it was kind of that way with Jake. And you kind of have to let those guys fail a little bit too before they realize that, okay, that wasn't a good move.
Yeah.
And that happened in one of the races in Laguna, where he's like, I kind of want it like this, I kind of want it like this, and the race was like, oh, that was terrible. And then the last race it was good, but I think that's when who blew up? SDK blew up, put oil all over him, so they couldn't
Right.
do it.
Yeah.
They thought it was his bike for a second, and the front tire was moving around, and then finally gathered it up. Said, "Oh, it's not me." So he went, and he said, "Oh, the bike was really good." So sometimes you have to let the riders kind of choose their path. Otherwise, they may not have any confidence in the bike, and then show them that, okay, hey, this way is pretty damn good.
Yeah. Try you see the lap time. Yeah. You like the other thing better, but that other thing is slower.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So, what's in the cards for Mid-Ohio and beyond? We got Mid-Ohio in a couple weeks or week and a half.
They're coming up with a new version of this.
Okay.
Hard tires, yeah.
Okay. If somebody wanted some of that, is it just available to us, or can I sell that out of the Attack Spares
prototype stuff? I've been in contact with their, senior chemist, and actually we have been working on a Yamaha oil for the Superbike.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good actually. So that's something we've been working on with our chemist over there. So that's one thing that is happening, and so far it's good. Okay. Yeah, and I think once it's fully realized, and probably hit the market at some point, I think.
Did anybody need spare parts this weekend?
I don't know.
Oh, parts department wasn't there. Sorry.
Closed for the weekend.
Sorry, dude.
Somebody did come by and ask for something. I can't remember.
Okay.
I said, contact us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I sold some stuff to some people out here. Actually, a guy crashed a little conquest sale opportunity. Actually, the MotoAmerica stock 1000 guy. I don't need to mention his name, but he's out there, and he's doing all right. And the dude ended up crashing. He had some other kind of rear sets on there, but I guess they know that we have spares available. Foot pegs and peg holders and that sort of thing. So yeah, I believe Joseph shipped him out rear sets yesterday. So pretty cool.
Cool. One thing that we did do, it's a little bit of behind the scenes stuff, is we had a meeting with MotoAmerica regarding potentially some I don't know how to call it, but something with Superbike to bolster the class.
Okay.
And so good news is, it sounds like they're going to maintain Superbike as is until the manufacturers decide not to make any more leader bikes or whatever.
Awesome.
So all that stuff that we heard early in the season kind of got sidelined, probably because the Peacock channel. And I mean, and I was thinking about that, and we get Cycle News digitally, and so when you open up Cycle News, you have a number of pages on Superbike, then you have a few paragraphs on Supersport and a few paragraphs on all the other ones,
Right.
So it still seems that Superbike is still the class to be in. So they're going to try to, and they'll make some announcement, but they're going to try to encourage other people to join
Right.
Superbike one way or the other, and that way the class is bigger and more robust and it grows, over the next couple of years. And you never know, 2 years down the road, it might collapse and who knows. But Superbike,
I mean, I thought it was silly. The rumors at the last round about that and about, oh, have you heard Superbike's going away? And I asked a few people, I asked a few people, I asked Pridmore, right? And they're like, no, we haven't heard that.
No, I got it from the horse's mouth. It's not going away.
All right. Well, there you go. You guys heard it. All those rumor mill people, shut them down.
No, at least for another couple of years.
For now. Yeah.
Yeah, at least for another couple of years. I mean, Ducati's coming out with a new bike, and BMW probably do something crazy as always. And Yamaha's working on something too. And so I think it's going to keep going for at least 2 more years. And, Superbike started off with, they had like straight handlebars way back when I was in high school, right? KZ 1000, right?
Yeah.
And the GS 1000, whatever it was back then.
Hooligans.
Yeah, and then Aussie bike, and then it went to 750s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fred Merkel era, and then it went to thousands, when back in 2002 or 3.
Yeah,
it's been about 22 years or so, 23 years of leader bikes, and it's been the only class that's really had some staying power. Throughout all the recession and the manufacturers leaving and all this. They tried to kill it before with Daytona Sport Bike, and it ended badly, really badly. And so MotoAmerica brought it back. For the most part, it's a pretty strong class, and I hope more people get involved. Nobody leaves, and we'll see how it goes in the next couple of years.
I got Cody Kreger in the comments talking about Superbike Cup. Do you think more participation in that would help fill the grid as well?
I mean, that's one of the ideas for sure.
Yeah.
And I don't know anything about pay and this and that. I mean, I didn't get into anything. We just talk a little bit about rules and how we can encourage other people, and balance the class a little better. Like for instance, Yamaha. If somebody wanted to, let's say, race a super sport style bike and Superbike with Yamaha, they're going to need something to help them combat, let's say, the BMW and the Ducati. So we talked about that a little bit, got some ideas and things of that nature, and and get back to them with some more ideas. But
I mean, back in the day, right? I mean, when it was 750 Superbike, it was pretty common for Superbike grid to be filled pretty heavily with 750 Super Sport bikes, right?
Stylish bikes, but they had back then they had 12 maybe factory riders.
Oh yeah.
Yoshimura had 4 at one time. I mean, sometimes they had 3. Yamaha had 2 always. We were on the Yamaha back then in the 90s.
Yeah, there was also Hooters, and there was like Suzuki had
those are super sport bikes.
Yeah.
And then there was a few privateers like Dale Quarterly that had the Ninja Turtles 750.
Right.
That, and then Kawasaki had a couple of riders. So if you add them all up, and then remember Harley had the VIR 1000, so they had a couple of guys.
You got a guy like Steve Griggs on his Raptor.
Crevier, Duhamel, and then there was a few, another rider, I can't remember, on a YZF 750. So there was probably, I think it was like 10 or 12 factory riders that got paid. And then there was a tier, so that went down to about 20. And I remember a few times we finished in the top 10. That was like a win back then.
Yeah.
If you were on a private bike and you finished in the top 10, it was like a win. And I know we ran as high as 5th a number of times, and we had some good points back then. And it was people were thinking, oh man, those guys are really killing it on a private bike.
Yeah. I mean, that's how do you recreate that today? What's the magic? What's the secret sauce? Sponsorship.
The secret sauce back then was the manufacturer involvement.
Yeah.
And when
Right.
DMG tried to shoo all the manufacturers away, say, "Oh no, we're going to be like NASCAR. We don't need manufacturers, and the teams own the numbers, and the riders don't have a number anymore." And they took away all the identity of all these riders.
Right.
All the riders. I mean, Spies went to World Superbike, and Matt Mladen retired, and all these riders went away. And Zemke was riding a 600 when he was on a Superbike before, and Hacking was riding a 600, and Hayden was riding a 600. And it just didn't. It just wasn't a good solution.
Right.
And the manufacturer went away. And it wasn't because I told DMG this. I mean, MotoAmerica this. It wasn't because all of a sudden the manufacturers had no money. It's like the manufacturer had a 5-year plan, right? That was a 5-year plan. And I don't think everybody's 5-year money ended right when the recession started in 09 or 08, end of 08. Just that they decided, I remember I was in the middle of this, and I've repeated this a bunch of times, that with Kawasaki, they jerked around with the rules so much, DMG did, that the Japanese said, nope, we're done.
Yeah.
And that was that. So, and they've been gone ever since. I mean, the same guys are there. Bruce Sturstrom and Dan Fahey. The same guys are there, and they're just not going to come back to road racing.
Right.
They're saying, oh, it's a $7 million program. It's not a $7 million program. They're smoking crack. They just don't want to get out of Supercross to add any. They don't want to take any money away from Supercross to go into road racing. That's what killed it. DMG had a bad idea. The guys running that whole stupid thing had a bad idea, and they just drove it into the ground because they insisted on their bad idea. They said, "Oh, it's going to work. It's going to work." It didn't work.
So there's a dude in the comments saying, Moto Prospector says that Superbike in the UK is getting dropped for Super Twins in 2026 due to cost, and the Superbikes are too fast for street racing. Well, those tracks in the UK, man, like those tracks are like go-kart tracks.
I don't know. So. Do I care?
Yeah, it's like, who cares?
I mean, there's some pretty talented riders come out of there, and those tracks are tough. But honestly, I mean, that the whole country's the size of California or smaller.
Right.
And so all their tracks are within driving distance.
Right.
And back to, do I care? We're talking about the United States. When you say the United States, that's a gigantic country with lots of assets and lots of money.
Right.
We should be better than everybody else. That's just the way it should be. and at one time in American road racing, meaning the United States, AMA, it was MotoGP, like Rossi or somebody getting paid, and there were guys here making 7 digits.
Right.
That's 2008, 6, 7. Those guys are making 7 digits. I know what our support riders are making, and it's more than the riders are making now. Back then.
Right.
So that's the way I think that's the way the United States should be, because we are the United States. And those other guys can go in their socialist little country that don't even have, the right to tweet something or whatever without getting arrested. They can go have fun on their little 600s over there, or the little twins, or whatever they want to do.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that Tempe guy says you should care because that shit transfers across the world.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. I think purchasing power probably in California for motorcycles is probably more than the entire country in the UK.
I don't know. I heard that motorcycle sales went up in the last report or whatever. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not, but apparently, like sport bike sales went up and dirt bike sales went down, which is kind of weird. I don't know if that's true or not. That's what Greg White told me anyway. So I believe the Gregopedia.
Dude, that guy studies, man. That guy studies the craft. I respect that dude.
I know there's some forces that try to align all the national series together. That's what this next gen stuff is.
Right.
But them dropping Superbike, cool, whatever. I just know that at least they told me they're not dropping Superbike at least in a couple more years.
Interesting. I mean, that's the way it should be, truthfully. I mean, I was explaining this to a guy the other day, and based on our conversations that we've had in the past, and scrapping Superbike basically takes all those teams that are running Superbike and makes all that expensive equipment that they've had and amortizing it over years. Essentially, it's just like, okay, well, just go ahead and throw that in the trash because you can't use it anymore. That's silly.
On eBay. some collector wants to put cool brakes on his bike, whatever. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just it's not the equipment's not the point. Like I told
Right.
you, when you look at Cycle News, Superbike's still the premier class. You
Right.
look at when Marshall's wife went out and set up the corkscrew, the fans went and watched Superbike, and they went down the hill to go get hot dogs or whatever when everybody else was on the racetrack.
Right.
It's just what it is. So
Yeah.
they can have their fun and with their little bikes and their little tracks they don't want to invest in, and we'll have our fun at Road America.
Yeah.
We have we have lots of big tracks.
So I'm gonna get to the comments now. Just kind of who's I'm not gonna say this. It's Marcus Johnson. He's a customer of the shop. Rides an R1. He has a really interesting username, and I'm not going to get suckered into saying it this time. But he asked, who's harder on the bikes as far as wear goes between Jake and Bob?
Yeah, same.
They're about the same.
Yeah, same.
All right. Let's see.
Who crashes the most? Neither, really.
What did you say?
I said it depends. I mean, the bikes are the bikes. They all rev the same. They're geared very similar. So RPM beats up motorcycles. This isn't really the rider so much. And they're both very aggressive on the throttle, both guys.
Yeah.
So so Bobby opens the throttle just like Jake does, or tries to.
Right.
He isn't a roll throttle kind of guy. He expects the power now.
Well, he wants it now.
Yeah.
Right. Dennis Black wants to know how you balance rear grip without negatively affecting the front end chatter feeling.
Chatter?
Yeah, it says chatter/feeling.
Well, that's a whole physics conversation with a balance the motorcycle. I mean, you got rake. We have all kinds of tools. We have rake. We have trail. We have spring forces. We have damping forces. I mean, there's just a whole mishmash of stuff you could throw at it, and if you know how to combine all those things together, and MotoSpec helps a lot.
Yeah.
So if you find let's say some force combination that works with our tires in particular compound, and some anti-squat that's a certain kind of area that you like, and you can like, for instance, we went from 1648 or whatever it was at Laguna Seca, first sixth on that little run right there, coming out turn 12.
Yeah.
It's 11. Yeah, 11.
Turn 12 is the restaurant that you go to. Yeah.
Yeah. So So anyway, from last corner up to turn 2, you're banging all on that short run. You got to get to 6. So you got really, really short gearing, and then you get to let's say Road Atlanta, where you're running a 1740, let's say, because you're going through that kink. And so the sprocket sizes are so different that your anti-squat changes dramatically. But a lot of guys just put out the sprocket and go, yep, that's good. And they go, oh, my bike doesn't work this racetrack. I have no grip or edge grip or whatever. And they don't realize that they've lost some of the dynamics in the rear just by changing sprockets. So I've made this pitch before for Jeff there at MotoSpec, but it is a pretty handy tool, to just put in the sprockets and you go, oh, hey, wow, I lost some anti-squat. Maybe I should move the pivot up or down or sideways. I don't know. Change the spring rate so it can have the same dynamic squat of the bike or whatever. So there's a lot of physics in the bike. This is a nice little physics experiment.
David Cross wants to know that he says that it's amazing that you can continue to develop a bike platform that hasn't changed in a while. The in-house work is the difference, I guess. And he's curious about how much development time doesn't bear results. Don't make him talk about that, dude.
No, I mean, sometimes you'll do something that's like, oh, that didn't make any more power, or it's the same.
Yeah.
We don't often go backwards.
Okay.
It's but some people will say, oh, like I think who was mentioning it? I think you were mentioning it, or somebody was mentioning it. Oh, we need to run an inverter.
Somebody commented
mass damper. And I go, man, and I asked the guys at Yamaha Europe. I said, you guys using a mass damper in your bike? Maybe they are now. I don't know. But they said, that's a gigantic development project.
Really?
And, just sticking something on the swing arm, go, okay, cool. Like, all the downhill bike guys have mass dampers on the forks and things like that. But it takes a bit of tuning to get that damper to do exactly what you want and not be actually counterproductive. So you have to weigh. We do every year. We do kind of a beginning of the year a list of priorities that we want to hit based on, let's say, some of our weaknesses from before.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we're missing grip. Oh, we're kind of weak on the brakes compared to the other guys, or whatever, right? So go and we'll make a refinement of the bike with a balance. Like we'll build a new gas tank, or we'll change the steering head. Like this, the rules allow for a pretty big change, and the rules say I can weld, machine, do all kinds of stuff with the steering head. So we'll push the rules out as far as we can to give ourselves the most amount of adjustment. So that way we'll go test for a few days and see where we can be, just based on what the priorities are. And so some priorities run engine, and we want to make sure that we can run our engine up higher in RPM, let's say, to keep up with the Joneses. And then we end up with, okay, we need a stronger connecting rod. So we pleaded our case with MotoAmerica, and they allowed us to have a connecting rod. So now we can run our engines up a little higher, or we can extend the life of them, so we don't take them apart so often, just for a safety factor. And that's helped, let's say, in that area. So you just chip away at it, one little thing at a time. And sometimes, you put a part in, and you're like, oh man, we got a side effect of that part. Like, for instance, we got some Pankel pistons and connecting rods as part of our allocation this year. And, the piston was using a lot of oil. So now we got to go and combat that. What do we do next? And we got to come up with a new ring package and blah, 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 blah. So you got to be really careful where you go. It isn't just like, oh, I'm going to throw a big bore kit in this thing.
Seems like it could be really easy to get yourself into the weeds if you're not careful, no?
Yeah, that's why we have meetings between the two crew chiefs and data guy. We have a meeting after every race and before every race. We talk about where did we go wrong, what did the riders say, go back over the notes, and then we'll look at the next race. So we'll put that in the back of our head, and then we look at the next race, and we'll make a plan going into the next race. So this is kind of like, for instance, at VIR, we tested there briefly. We had a couple of good dry laps, not very many, and we're like, okay, hey, we're really screwed up on the gearing because of this gearbox we have. So we went back to the shop and worked on it, showed up with an option. And then, of course, the riders go faster, and then now your gearing's off again. And the riders go faster again. So you keep feeding the beast, And so all weekend long, we're kind of chasing that thing. And so that's kind of the way we've been doing it. Other guys may just write a check, like you said, and get an Alpha bike or a Ducati Corsa bike and go, yep, we got our bike, we got our setup, and they still got to hire a few guys to maintain those things and maybe some information from Italy or Germany or wherever they're getting the info from to make sure that their bikes are circulating properly.
Yeah, it just seems like a lot more work than you see on TV goes into this stuff. So.
Well, at our shop we do. I mean, we do we do the development at our shop, and the only reason we do that is because, one, it's a little bit cheaper because we have the equipment. So we can machine a swing arm on our own. It's a little bit cheaper, and two, sometimes getting parts is difficult. So it takes time, or development takes time. You have to wait.
Yeah.
So we want to get right to it, and so we make our priority list and we just get after it. Like if you ask for a gas tank from Europe and it's different than what they have, it's going to be a while before they get around to it.
Yeah. Otherwise, if you have the equipment, you could just press the green button, and voila.
I wish it was that easy.
That's not how it works, dude.
No.
What?
I need Yamaha to make some instant tank.
Instant tank? Yeah. We'll have to work on that.
Instant tank spray.
Yeah. Okay, so going back to the parts thing, there's a guy Hyperdyne15. He's asking to make sure that I have R9 parts on the truck at Mid Ohio. Dude, I think the parts department has R9 parts.
The truck is already at Mid Ohio. So.
Yeah, but I think the R9 parts are already on it, right?
Yeah, there should be some stuff there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's rear sets and triple clamp
I know
inserts.
there's quite a few parts in that container of yours that we size.
There's a lot of parts in there, dude. You should be good to go.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. More of that UK cost cutting stuff, whatever.
Cost, I always laugh when they say cost.
He says, if it didn't matter, if it didn't translate, is that guy was like, well, why is MotoAmerica trying to use the quote FIM rules package or whatever?
We are using the rules package.
No, he was saying that if it doesn't matter what the UK is doing.
If it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter to me.
Like switching from Superbike to Super Twins.
Oh, I don't care.
Like, how many bikes are twins?
Super Twins. I don't know. I never heard that.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know. I might have to fact check that.
All I've heard, I don't know what he's talking about. All I've heard from Scott Smart, who's in the middle of it, but maybe he told me that nobody wants to invest in the UK on improving their racetracks.
Mm.
So it's a tiny little island, right?
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of space probably, and who knows? Nobody wants to pay for the racetracks. He said nobody wants to invest in improving the racetrack, so they're going to have to slow the bikes down because the Superbikes are too fast. Well, the Superbikes have no rider assist at all, right?
Yeah.
They have torque management and things like that. So you can still high side one of those things and blah blah. And the way all that started was they want to run Motec on all their bikes as the spec ECU, and I don't think Motec at that time wanted to do all that stuff.
Right.
But they had a package like that, so I don't know why they went away. I don't understand the logic behind that at all, because every motorcycle comes with all kinds of rider aids.
Right.
Every one you buy off the showroom floor. So they kind of went behind the times.
Right.
So I can see where a bike with no rider aids is very difficult to ride, especially if it has 220 horsepower.
I think Gabe De Silva makes a pretty good point here, and he says it in various ways in the comments after this comment. Gabe said Haritos, dude. Yeah. So
I've seen him there. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the teams enjoyed the Haritos that he's provided us too, right?
You enjoyed them.
Well, no, not just me, bro. Like, I filled up that fridge with a case of that stuff, and
I'm not a soda guy, so
well, somebody is, because it's all gone.
The whole rest of the team.
Yeah, dude.
They're the most unhealthy.
I try to stay away from it for the most part, because it's so much sugar. But he says he thinks MotoAmerica should announce what the plans for Superbike are.
My favorite soda is Yingling.
Is what?
Yingling.
Beer. Oh, beer.
But not the racetrack. Never drink at the racetrack.
No.
Never, ever.
Never.
Never.
He says that he thinks that MotoAmerica should announce soon what the plans are, because not knowing is what he believes keeps a lot of people away, because they have to plan and things come.
They will do that. I know what their plan is, but I'm not allowed to say. So I think it'll be encouraging for some and maybe discouraging for others. I don't know, but I think it's a step in the right direction.
And Ed, the crewman on the team on the 50 side of the aisle in the pits, he says if the bikes go to collectors, he's got first dibs on the calipers from the 50 bike.
Okay. All right, Ed.
Right.
Usually our parts will stay in our collection here, along with those R7s and the Pridmore bike and Ben Spies' Super Sport bike and all those bikes we have back there.
How about do you have any thoughts on future talent for the sport, for a Superbike, for instance?
That was one of the conversations I had with MotoAmerica, actually. They called us in just to go over a potential rules package. Help balance, some stuff, like any entries into Superbike.
Yeah.
And so we listened, we gave our advice. It was myself and Jeff, the road race manager. And, but then, we talked a little bit about that the kids need someplace to land.
Yeah.
Like if they do away with Superbike and it's all Super Sport or whatever, and there's only a couple of teams there that are paying.
Right.
When the kids get let's say get through Talent Cup, they go through Twins or whatever, and they want to move up, if they don't have a place where they're going to make some money or potential to make some money, they're not going to even stay in the sport.
Right.
The dads are going to go, what are we doing this for? It's a nice hobby, but we're done. So the kids need somewhere to land, and they need more teams for the kids to land on.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a pay to play, just like Moto2 is. Moto2, I mean, a lot of those guys pay to be there. And their idea is, man, if I really, really rock at Moto2, I can find myself in MotoGP. And same in Supersport, World Supersport. If they do well there, they might find themselves on a World Superbike. So, and so the Kramer bikes, some kids can show their talents and move up. Same in Supersport. Like Davis is pretty young. There's a few other young riders in Supersport that may find themselves in Superbike.
Yeah, 100%. Some of those kids, the younger Twins Cup guys can continue on in that Twins Cup class. While some of the other ones, actually on our photographer's husband's team.
Yeah.
Both of those kids are just.
Yeah. So what I mentioned was in our conversation there that a lot of times, I mean, I personally don't have time to be watching all those classes. We're busy looking at data and doing all the things we do. But the most I get to see is maybe sometimes the start of Supersport and maybe the last bit of Supersport because we're already in the hot pit.
Right.
Race. So we get to watch Matt Skoltz win or whatever, and or the nice fights he has with PJ and all that drama and whatever else.
Yeah.
Kind of fun to watch,
Yeah.
Matt's got 2 points on his license, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Last race because
he's a colorful finger gestures at other riders in qualifying or something. That's what I heard.
Yeah, there's a story behind all that. And I call it the Heron rule.
Okay.
It started VIR. So when Heron when I was helping Heron in Superstock, or even I think it was 18 in Superbike, he would always try to follow someone for whatever reason. He always needed a carrot, and he's since changed that. But they finally made it to where they made a rule where so many people are complaining that they made a rule that there's no what they call it, touring, no touring.
Yeah.
So in other words, you can't go slow and look back behind you and then hook up with some guy that's on his fast lap. So there was a lot of stuff like that going on apparently with Matt. So he got frustrated and he showed his frustration. Apparently, I didn't see it. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
And then of course, Strax had a little less than wonderful conversations with MotoAmerica in the past.
I think he's been on. Has he been on the receiving end, or has he been the giver of those one-way conversations we were talking about?
Who's that?
Peter.
I don't know. I mean, they had some difficulties with some rules back when they tried to put a data logger on their bike in the middle of a session, and then Tom Halverson didn't like that idea, and Peter didn't like that idea, and Scott Smart was there, and they're like, "Who's this guy?" And Peter doesn't know any of these guys, right? Peter's a good stand-up guy. He doesn't know any of these guys,
right?
And so he's like, "Screw you!" And the guy's lawyer involved, and so it spiraled out of control. And I think people hold grudges. So I don't think it's got anything to do with Matt. Matt can be like quite dynamic. Yeah. I mean, he got into it with Petrucci, and I think he might have got with Baz, and he got into it with.
He's a colorful personality.
Yeah, and then I think I don't know. I guess Chris Ulrich came up to Jeff and said, "You better control your riders," or something like that. So it's gone from riders to team managers to whatever. I just look at it. Yeah, whatever. I never get involved in that stuff. I don't care.
Vexar wants to know what your thoughts are of the new Suzuki.
Yeah, our riders are like not like that.
No.
Jake's chill. Sometimes they go, "Man, that dude's riding like an idiot," or whatever.
I don't think we're going to see number 50 or number 32 aura farming.
Well, remember when Bobby went off into the Ducati truck and got face to face with Heron?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to give him the Stockton beat down or something.
Yeah, Stockton slapping around. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but you know what? at that where was it? I guess in race, where was it? Race Laguna. You know, I mean, they congratulate each other and stuff like that. Like, oh,
Yeah.
whatever at the podium. These guys get all hyped up, and then
Yeah,
after,
the red mist is on. You never know what's going to happen.
yeah. You know, they're all super aggressive on the racetrack. You just can't carry that on after the checkered flag. You know, you just got to be chill.
So there's another comment from that Tempe guy.
Yeah.
And he's talking about how, you know, it's kind of shit that only one team knows what's happening and no one else does.
No, I think it's
I wouldn't exactly.
I wouldn't say that's the case. I would definitely not say that's the case because MotoAmerica goes and surveys all the teams.
There you go.
And they probably asked whoever they survey to please keep it under wraps until they can make an announcement, because it's up to them to announce. That's all.
Right. Yeah.
And so I would definitely not say there's one team that knows. They just called us in regarding the Yamaha.
There you go. So come on, Tempe, get on board, dude.
You're the same guy that's bagging on us about the UK thing.
Who knows? I don't care. Like whatever. Joel, he thinks that electric bikes are one of the reasons people aren't buying motorcycles.
Okay.
Thoughts? No?
They're heavy and they're slow. I don't know.
Oh, man. Okay.
It takes this gigantic motor and weighs a ton, and batteries that weigh a ton to make the same energy as a few drops of gas. And I don't know.
A few drops of gas.
I mean, gasoline is still the most compact energy source that's easily exploited. You know, at some point they'll come up with a different energy source. They'll be better, but you know, it's what it is. Yeah.
Oh man, it's
getting better. I'm for sure electric bikes getting better, but
yeah,
who wants to hear those things whirling by?
It sounds like I don't know, remote control car. Like it's just, I don't know.
Mark has a great time with his remote control car.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I
mean, some of those things like the TrackDaz remote control cars, it's just amazing what they do with those little electric motors. I mean, these things are fast.
Dude, so I met a guy last.
I'm not against it because I think it'd be a lot of fun to tune all that stuff, but I just don't think they're there yet.
Yeah. Well, I met a guy the other day that is like all about electrical stuff, you know, the remote control cars. And I told him, I was like, oh yeah, my buddy's kid's got one of these, whatever. And he's like, oh, the UDR,
yeah.
UDR. And he's like, yeah, those things suck and this and that. He's like, they break every.
Well, it's a scale car, and they're real prone to breaking because they're fairly heavy. They're super fast, and and everything functions like it's real. It's amazing.
Oh yeah,
they have transaxle. They have front differential, rear differential. So I mean, it's just
I'm gonna have to get with that guy and figure out what he says to get instead of that.
Oh, there's a bunch of better cars, but if you want a pretty cool looking scale one, that thing's pretty badass.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, it looks like
did Mark dig the Fall Guy video?
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, whatever.
Anyway, all right. Well, there's a lot of commentary about stouts versus ales, and something about you not being a tree hugger, and
No, not a tree hugger. Pretty conservative. I like guns. Not woke. All of that. If you don't like it, too bad. Don't buy my stuff.
Wow.
I get along with what's the name of SDG real well.
There you go. Yeah, Brian.
My chair leaks down over time. It sucks. I gotta throw it out.
That happens.
Yeah.
All right, Richard. Well, I guess I'll see you in a week and a half at Middo. You gonna go and visit the Harley dudes at Bike Night or what?
No.
Okay. So no baggers from Attack in the future. Got it.
No. I you know, the bagger thing's fun to look at. I don't know what kind of life that thing has. It's super freaking expensive.
Yeah. You know, people say Superbike's expensive. It's like, dude, those things are more than double.
Superbikes does not eat the parts like the baggers do.
Yeah.
You know, you could run a season on 3 Superbike engines for a guy, you know, as far as rebuilds go.
Right. Right.
that's including probably testing, honestly. And we take ours apart more than that just to make sure we're good to go. But I think it's fairly efficient as far as
Yeah.
radio goes. I think that people get scared of the initial investment, but you can amortize that out. Like that's one of the things I was telling MotoAmerica too. I know we're kind of going long here, but
Yeah.
you buy an ECU, like some of the ECUs we have, and I beat this to death too. They're from 2018. So we've used the same ECUs for that many years. Just keep putting new firmware in them.
Yeah.
So I mean, forks like a Olin's fork, crash it, you might pinch an outer tube or something. Maybe
Right.
dent an outer tube. You crash the stock setup, and the forks are bent. The inner tubes are bent. The trip clamps are bent. The cartridges are bent. I mean, they just don't take a crash like the Olins do.
Right.
So we've had some big crashes and had minor repairs on the Olins. So all that stuff amortizes out, and it's actually, the parts are pretty inexpensive once you get into it.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, Richard, dude, I'm gonna let you go, man. Like, thanks for putting up with this crap. Thanks for sharing me the top secret spray.
This is super expensive, by the way. This is like
I bet.
$3,000 a spray.
How much?
It's like $3,000 a spray.
No way.
How much is a racing win worth?
I mean,
You want to win by 14 seconds?
you bought a case of that, right?
I'll spray you down with this.
Do you fill Bobby's his ice bath tank with that stuff?
No. It's
No.
oatmeal when he's not looking.
Oh,
Spray
it's
some of that.
oatmeal.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I don't know if he eats oatmeal. Whatever.
That's Jake, actually.
Okay.
Whatever. You put it in Jake's oatmeal too.
I'm going to spray some on Jake's arm next time.
Dude, right? Well, anyway, thanks
All
everybody for watching this stuff. Everybody in the comments, appreciate everybody chiming in and going toe to toe with us on some of the stuff. I mean, you don't have to like everything we're talking about.
Whatever.
That's cool.
VSP sucks.
VSP does sucks. There's a reason
Who
why we
cares?
split off from those.
It's like talking about VIR. Who cares?
Exactly. Well, anyway, make sure you like, subscribe, and if you like what we're saying or you hate what we're saying, make sure to let us know in the comments, and we'll catch you guys on the next one after Mid-Ohio, right? So
I like World Superbike.
I like World Superbike too, man.
MotoGP, they rule.
Yeah.
VSP sucks.
VSP.
All right, later.
All right, see you guys.